Hey, why can't we script rollbacks like a plugin? It's actually pretty simple if you maintain good naming conventions. So let's take a look at that, but first, let's get our list view working correctly. It says audit log here, and it actually goes to a layout showing contacts. So we're going to make a few changes so we can see it here, and then we can put buttons in here. So we'll call this audit log audits. Go into layout setup, showing records from audits. Change the name, and then simply add some fields to identify what we're looking at. So I'll put in a merge field. And I think we'll start with the field name. Get it in there, tucked in there nicely. Probably don't need that much space. That's good enough. I'm going to option drag or control drag if you're on Windows. And I'm just going to use the keyboard command for inserting a merge field now just to save some time. I'm going to do data original, option or control drag. Then we'll do data changed. And we'll put in probably the timestamp when it changed. And we also want to see in here our table. That should do it. Let's take a look at it and see what we've got. So now we can see all the stuff. There's not a lot of stuff that we've tracked in here, no big deal. But we can add stuff to it if we want to very easily. But you can see all the information you need. I want to change name last to Osborne. Now, there is nothing in here. You could put a calculation that says blank here. Very easy to do. Just say if this is empty, result in the word blank. Otherwise, result in what's in there. So let's go take a look at what we have to do to prepare for writing that script. So the first thing we have to do is go into Manage Database, go to Relationships, and we need to have this audits table occurrence right here connected to both contacts and companies and any other tables we might add. I know we made another table occurrence here, but we need to have this connected just like that. Remember that the parent ID can have in there things like contacts 0001 or CONs or COM for companies. It can have both these parent keys in there, and if you had a third table, it can have up to 3 types. So now it doesn't matter if you're on the right record, it's going to go to the right relationship as long as we write the script correctly. Let's go ahead and get into our company's layout. Go into browse mode. Make a change here. You can see it's made that in there. And if we go back over to our audits list, go back into browse mode, we'll see we now have an entry for companies. So you can see how it's all in one place. So we can put a little button over here that says, roll it back. So let's go in and write this script. We'll call it roll back scripted. There we go. Come in here. We're only going to need one step. It's going to be set field by name. But it's actually not very complex. Now, set field is different than set field by name because set field by name, when you specify the target field, doesn't ask you for the target field. You have to calculate it. And if you look at the online help, it can get quite complicated with get field name and evaluate. But here in this situation, we don't need something very complicated. We're just going to simply refer to the table name, then the colons that go in there, and then the next thing we're going to do is the field name. That will construct that field name. Well, let's show you what I mean here. Let's go in here and get into our data viewer. I'm going to paste that in there. If you didn't see me copy it, I copied that formula we made. Paste it right over that one. You can see it's doing contacts, colon, name first. That's exactly what we need for a fully qualified field name. The table name, 2 colons, and the name first. We don't need anything else other than that. So that will work perfectly. Let's go in and do the other part of our script, which is the formula. And that's also very simple. just get the data original field. There you go. So all that data we stored in there allows you to construct something that will go right back to the correct table and field, because we have the table name here and we have the field name here. It's all in there, and then we have the original data. So let's try it out. We'll put a little button in here. And let's put roll back. Perform that script, which is the last one, or didn't quite get to the last one. There it is right there. And let's see if we can fit it on this. There you go. Nice. Fits perfectly in there. Go to browse mode. Okay. So remember with the company, let's do that one first. Let's go to that record first. And let's pull up that information right on the screen here in a second window. So we'll go to companies form, go to browse mode. And so what should happen is it should take this test, or this field, the company, back to test 2, which is original data. So let's see what happens. We'll hit roll back, go back to our window 2. You can see now it says test 2. And now in this case, if we do this one, it should remove the word John Mark from there. And if you take a look at it, we got to make sure we're on the correct record, because it's company, it's this contact right here. It says John Mark. Okay, so it's contacts. We don't have that ID on there, but I do know it's the first one. Hit roll back here. We should have that changed back to nothing. So that's pretty cool. It's actually pretty easy. It's fairly adaptive based on how we're storing our data. In fact, it's completely adaptive. The only thing we really, I shouldn't say completely, it's 99%, because the only thing you really have to hard code here is you make sure this relationship's in there to each one of the tables. Otherwise, everything else that we've added in there is pretty much dynamic and adaptive inside that script, and it works pretty well.